Jesus Christ. His father was a former soldier and a World War II veteran. And in 1982, he had a life-changing encounter with the Isa, whose name he bore, and led to his conversion and salvation and subsequent baptism in the Holy Spirit. After his conversion, he became radical, as he had been radical in Islam. And he became a threat even to the Islamic groups, and he had to flee to hide in the desert jungles of Maiduguri. Despite the danger, he continued to fast and pray, and God visited him. Today, he's the president of the Buba Outreach Ministries, EBOMI, and he has built a great and influential following, and is very, very interested in Nigeria, political, spiritual leadership in Nigeria, and the transformation of Nigeria. He is Prophet Isa, if you like, Jesus Christ, Buba. He's engaged for the next few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, and he'll be joining us shortly. And we're discussing today the subject of the citizens' call to action, the citizens' call to action in Nigeria. And what we mean by the citizens' call to action in Nigeria under the ALG or the NLS is okay, government has done its best. Let us put it that way. Government has done what government can do. And this is the kind of government that is available to us in Nigeria and in Africa. So what do the citizens do? It is our country. We're the ones who live here. How are we going to now be able to, with or without government, create the kind of Nigeria that we want? Because, I've even heard it said in some places that it is the citizens that build the country. It is the private sector that develops the nation. And no nation has developed without the private sector. And a lot of nations are developed using the private sector. Yes, government is important. Government policies are important. Government infrastructure is important. But we are the government. And the people should now take up that responsibility and build the kind of society that they want, and then drag leadership or government along and get government to do what government needs to do so that the people can move forward. And that is what we're calling the citizens' call to action. What can the citizens do in this particular environment to help themselves and to transform their environment? Okay, I know the citizens are doing a lot. Somebody will tell me we're all governments to ourselves. We have our own borehole, we have our own electricity, we have our own security, we have our own this and that. And the challenge with that hitherto is that while the individual is surviving, while he's getting ahead and making his own way, the larger society is not benefiting or is suffering. So how do we have community self-help? How do we come together as a commune and as a communal people to help ourselves? You have your own borehole, you have your own security in your house, but the road leading to your house is impassable. How can we come together and fix that road? Or how can the one who is more privileged amongst us fix the road and make sure that instead of it just being about himself, there's a sense of community and we sitting around to help ourselves? Ironically, some estates have done it, even in Lagos, even in Nigeria. You go into some estates and the environment is totally different because the people in that estate have come together to build the kind of environment that they want. If we can do that in little silos like that, maybe we can do that in a local government, we can do that in a state, we can do that in a zone. So what is the citizen's responsibility and what is the citizen's self-help and what is the citizen's response? So while we wait for our speaker today, I'd like to invite one or two people who are on the platform to give us their thoughts and their comments on citizens' responsibility. I'm going to be calling my sister, Fumi Ajayi Tomori, to share a few thoughts and then maybe I'll call upon my brother Niyi Famuide to share one or two thoughts, and then we'll take on our speaker, who I am told is now on the platform. So if Auntie Fumi Ajayi Tomori is available and she's willing to share a few thoughts on this issue of citizens' responsibility, can I please kindly ask her to unmute her mic and even her video and say a few words, and then we can on to Niyi Famuide if he's also bold enough to speak, and then we'll invite our speaker to take on.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening,
Thank you for the honor of Thank you for the honor of asking me to speak on this very crucial issue of citizens' responsibility. I believe all of us have to believe that we are citizens, first and foremost. It's not just being a Nigerian, citizens of this country. And when we know and believe that we are citizens, what is our responsibility? Our responsibility, first and foremost, is to believe rather, in our society, in our environment, to be willing to serve, to be willing to build a nation, to be willing to do what is right, to define rules of engagement. Things are very loose in this country, and we are living in conclaves. Everybody has its own group. It's like everybody having its own conclave. No, first and foremost, we must believe in the larger entity, the nation. And when we believe in the nation, then we start nation building. If we don't believe, we can't start a nation building. And to build a nation, the rules of engagement, commitment, competence, meritocracy, law abiding, justice, equity, love. Treat your neighbor as yourself. And we must start from the home. The youths, today, the youths just behave as if in French universe, no laws, jungle justice. No, all of us must start. All of us must know that unless a society has rules, you cannot make progress. Therefore, starting from the home, from the schools, and then secondary school, and then the tertiary. And that's how we build up ourselves. I remember when we were young, we were taught civics, history, health, neighborliness, debating, culture. All these things, they are soft power. But with time, when they are imbibed from youth, then you grow to be a self-sustaining human being. And these things are encompassed in civic responsibility. And then next stage is the service. How do we serve ourselves? How do we serve our neighborhood? How do we serve the nation? And then we have a build-up of the type of society we want. I believe that for the past 50, 60 years, we've been quite reckless. It's as if no laws. The Yoruba say, "Kò sófin, kò ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀." And look at where it has gotten us. But I keep on saying, yes, 50 years of recklessness, but we can come back. It's doable. When I see any young person being unjust, being rude, I just say, excuse me, can we please respect ourselves? I went to an MTN office about 2 weeks ago when my WhatsApp was hacked. And this lady, I saw her, I said, Ekaro. She didn't answer me. Ekaro, the next time she didn't. So I said, good morning. And then she answered. I was very patient with her. So when I finished my business and I was going out, I said, my lady, I just want you to know that some time ago, some 40 years ago, we were in the position you are now, when we were the cream a la cream. But today, nobody knows us. I said, do you imagine where you will be 40 years' time? And she looked at me and she said, I'm very sorry. I said, the world goes round. Let us give what is best in ourselves to our society at every point in time. Let us love one another. Let us obey the commandments. Let us be fair and just. Let us believe in service. And these are very soft values, but they go a long way. Our society now, you don't even know the difference between the good and the bad. You don't know the difference between truth and lying, between black and white. And in the long run, unless we build this society, we're going to be unhappy citizens. Look at all our people over the world. Nigerians excel in some fields, and we have more opportunity. We can do 10 times better than we are doing now. But at the same time, we're very notorious for some bad practices. And now, everywhere, Ghana is driving us, South Africa is driving us, Vietnam, Thailand. Sooner rather than later, America is still playing here and there. Nobody wants us. So we must all come back and put hands together and build a nation. This nation is beautiful. God has created so much.
With Nigeria, I agree. I agree.
Yes, it has given
Watching the
tolerable weather.
yeah, fantastic. Everything is beautiful. No
My pastor.
tornadoes, no crisis.
Yes,
Yes, ma.
yes.
Yeah,
My
it's okay.
pastor,
I
believe
loud
you
and clear. We
me.
should take.
I tell
We're losing you. Anyway, don't worry. I've heard you, my dear sister. Let me take on me very quickly. Let me hear his point so that we can now have Prophet Issa El Buba run away with our topic, the citizens' action points, citizens' call to action. Nee, do you have anything to say very quickly? Is he here or is he gone home? Maybe he's shy. Citizens call to action. Anyway, for today, well, we do have a video, and I think we have a video we want to play very quickly. Olu, can you help me from the back end, or Faye, to see if we are ready to play this video now, and then we'll call him to speak to the video.
Hello, sir.
Yes?
Okay.
We've been
Yeah,
waiting.
I was saying hello. I didn't think you heard me.
Okay. Can you just tell us in 30
Yeah,
seconds?
briefly, I will just be brief on it.
Yeah.
I agree with what the first speaker said, and she was apt on it. But I just want to add that in Nigeria, we've left a lot of things undone, and we took our eyes off the ball, trying to play smart individually, and I want to believe that if we can return back to the basics, like she has rightly said, it may not be easy, but it will be doable in the long run. Rome can never be built in a day. It's a lot of steps that must be put together. It's a systems development approach, and everybody must face the same direction, working in concert together. And by so doing, we can build a strong nation. We need to change our attitude, we need to change our mind, we need to renew our mind, we need to face the same direction. And it cannot be a one-stop shop for the federal or the state or the local government, but each and every individual must be jointly accountable for this, and we must have a system that checks on each other. By the time you are moving on the street and see something wrong, then you have to correct, stop and correct. You must take responsibility for every action that is not going in the right direction expected, and so that we can build a strong and a vibrant nation where everybody will be happy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I've heard you loud and clear too. My only challenge is a lot of people are so underinformed or so ill-informed that they may not know what to do and they'll not be able to do anything. And the issue is who will bail the cat and who will drive them. My dear Prophet, you are most welcome. Before we take you on, we want to show a video. I'm sure looking at the headline of it, you will know what we're trying to do. And we want you to now, first of all, tell us after that video, I've already introduced you, tell us how you got into this level of advocacy and vocality, if there's any such word, and what you think of Nigeria and what you think the citizens' call to action should be. Well, let's watch this video first, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Change this country but us. I have confronted the government and the leaders of this country. As much as we have issues with the government and the leadership of this country, I have more issues with the Nigerian people. It is only you, the Nigerian people, that will decide the day you will stop suffering. It is only you, the Nigerian people, that will decide to bring an end to the oppressions that you're going through. You cannot afford to be seeing the blood of your brothers and sisters being split. Little children that know nothing, 3 years old and 2 years old, being burnt alive. And yet you sit down in the comfort of your house drinking your tea as if nothing has happened. I challenge our religious institutions that these politicians, and most of them that are third-class brains, they cannot continue to manipulate you that are first-class brains. When we keep silent and behave as if nothing is going on, the wicked and evil will continue to thrive. We are a people that have a future. If we don't take our destiny, forget about the appointment you're given, forget about being made an SA, forget about being made a minister, forget about being made a commissioner. It doesn't matter whatever you are made, whatever you get will come to an end. Buhari has come to an end. But the fact is, Nigeria continues to live. And if Nigeria continues to live, Buhari has gone, but he left you with the pain and the suffering. He must have reconciled himself with his maker. And his maker will forgive him. But what about you? So Nigeria, we cannot allow them. Look at the way they are tossing you left and right. Instead of thinking about your welfare, they're thinking about 2027 election. The roads are not fixed. Great brains in Anambra. Few days ago, a young man that is growing up, fish magnet, was kidnapped, ransom demanded, paid, and was killed. And you have a governor that is running to contest for an election. Woe to the church leaders that will keep silent and be given an award to wicked men and women that have no conscience for the nation they govern. Woe to the Islamic community that all you're doing is planting doctrinal conflicts and bringing about violence among yourselves instead of talking about the welfare of your own people. We're gathering them and giving them awards of nonsense. I challenge the average Nigerian that it is time we drop whatever tribe, whatever religion, whatever you think about, and let's pull our energy together to make a difference. We can decide that these people will not go into power, and we must get the right men and women. 2027 is not for politicians to manipulate our head. We will get the right men. I talk to you, Mr. President. You have the opportunity to fix and make amends to your mistakes and your errors in the next 1 year, or else we will get on the street. We cannot be bought. We cannot be bought. I feel the tears of the recent young men that we killed in the villages. You are saddled with the responsibility. This is what you applied for. 1 year is more than enough for you to give Nigerians hope that there is a starting point and we have gotten it right. Look at the way Nigerians are being mocked in Ghana. Now Ghanaians are saying Nigerians must go. South Africans are saying Nigerians must go. Togo are saying Nigerians must go. You Nigerians, wake up and fix.
Thank you so much. Prophet Buba, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing to be here, my brother. You've done so much, put yourself out for Nigeria. So tell me, how did you get into this fray? And what is your thinking about the citizens' call to action? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure. Thank you for stretching your hand of fellowship to get me to be with you this time. Actually, it's the state of the nation and the state of the people. I have traveled to virtually every local government in Nigeria, the 744. As an intercessor, I moved from local government to local government and praying for the redemption of our country. And what I saw was so painful. We have a great nation, blessed country. God has provided everything that is required to be able to live the best life that at least an average Nigerian should live. And then going around to see the way to see the way lives have been wasted. I give you an example. After going to Kano, Jigawa, and then I drove from there, went into Yobe before heading to Maiduguri, my hometown. You'll see in the city center, you see very rich, some of the richest people in this country. They are from Kano and some of these places. But just a few kilometers away, the land is in total, the people are living in total poverty. And then I moved to the southwest. From coming in from Kogi, I drove up, I went to Ogun, I went to Oshun, I went to Ikiti, and all of that. And one of the states that has a lot of brilliant people, or educated, let me use the word educated people, is Ikiti. But what you find about that city does not reflect what the people that are actually out of that city, that state. So I went around, I went to Bayelsa, and I saw a land of treasure, a land that is feeding virtually a nation. And what they get is more than enough to be able to raise their people. Even if it is providing simple housing, the government has more than enough. But I saw a people being enslaved by their own people. And then on Sunday, everybody's in church. So I couldn't put these two together. Looking at where I was coming from as an Islamic jihadist, and when we plan, we are strategic in our operations, and also when we set a goal of what we want to accomplish. And I felt coming into the light, the people of light should be a perfect example that the Muslims, the animists, and all of that traditionists will be able to learn from. But I discovered that people in church, actually, they are the worst. They are so self-centered, so greedy. And so those were the things that scared of something in me, and I came back with a long fasting. I fasted for a very long time, 450 days. And I was just crying to God, what must I do? So the Lord began to speak to me on taking up issues that concerns this nation. I thought I was done during the military days. What I've done, I did what I should do, even in the midst of confrontation, gunpoint, and all of that. I turned down a lot of offers. So, but then look at this season. Is this the way we're going to be going? Right before our eyes. We've seen yesterday. We're seeing today. God is helping us to see tomorrow. Is it the kind of nation we're going to be quit? I know that I grew in an environment that was stable electricity. There was stable healthcare system. Let me use the word, the systems were working. 85% the systems were working. Good roads. Monthly, the government comes with a helicopter and then spray insecticides, to take care of the mosquitoes. You go to school, everything is provided. Books are provided. You're given welfare money, what you need to use to buy what you want to buy. Your transportation back home is given to you. So this was the kind of life. The food we were provided with in the school was something that people in their houses don't eat. So we saw the Nigeria of yesterday. Indians were serving us. I remember Indians that were working for us. I remember Ghanaians. I remember people from Irish and all of that. They were serving. They were serving Nigerians. And now Nigeria is the laughing stock. We keep prophesying, we keep saying, but then with a different act. So these were the things actually. The Lord provoked me, stirred my spirit to confront the forces. It wasn't easy, of course. Just recently, I addressed the Middle Belt forum organized by New Central. I wanted to a little bit be diplomatic. I'm a grandfather now. I have 8 grandchildren. So I tried to, try to be a little bit soft. But the Lord will not allow me. The fire is burning right in my bones, and I know the danger of what I'm doing. And I'm staying in the midst of the people here in the north. So I know what I've gone through, 9 assassination attempts and severally fired with bullets. And God showed me mercy. Even when the bloods were flowing out of my body, God kept me alive. So this time around, I was asked to address and speak about the insecurity in the north and also in the Middle Belt. And I know what the problem is. I'm partly Fulani. My grandmother was a Fulani woman. My grandfather was Kanuri. So I have that a little bit of the Fulani blood. And I know how aggressive our people can be. I know how aggressive some of our Fulani people can be. I mean, I know how they can be. And it was dangerous for me to come out to speak. But then I needed to say once and for all, life is one. I just have to do what is right. And so I spoke and I said, Nigeria, Fulani, Fulani, problem you hear, Ikiti. You hear in the Plateau, you hear on the Benue, you hear in Sokoto, you hear in Katsina. They are not the only tribe. So I told them, are you the only tribe? Why should it be the problems that we have been confronted with is you all over the place? And so after that, I said 80% of the situations we are going through is basically from 80% is from the Mayati Allah. And if we're going to get things right, we need to begin to speak truth. I've seen that Nigerians, we love going around a matter and not really addressing the matter. So after that, the Fulani people, some of the top people in this country, started calling me and sending me message to threaten and why should you do that and what have you? Why should you profile the Fulani people? But like I said, when you come to a point in your life, you must have 2 things that work in you. Number 1 is your conviction. Your conviction to know that if you're going to live for something, live for it. If you're not going to live for it, then don't. Don't even start it in the first instant. Don't try to live a double life. If you're on the path of light, be in light so that you can enjoy light. And if you're on the path of darkness, be total. When I was a Muslim, I mean, it was total, absolute, total commitment. There was nothing like compromise for anything. Islam was Islam, and I was dying for seeing that Islam prevails in Nigeria and in the Sahel and in the entire continent of Africa. So I was taking every word in the Hadith literally. So when I got saved into Christ, it's a higher, better life. It's a glorious life. And I just see people playing religion. And I said, no, this is not it. And sitting around preachers and pastors and all of that, I just discovered sometimes what most people do, what they say on the pulpit is different from what they live. So there was this double life. And that's not. In life, you just have to have a conviction. It's either you serve the devil so that you serve him total. Jesus said, you're neither lukewarm, you're neither cold nor hot. You're lukewarm. If you stay like, I will spew you out. So if you're going to serve Satan cold, serve Satan. If you're going to be hot for God, be hot for God. And basically, those were the things that informed my action. And then in also trying to see what we will do as citizens to finally bring an end to this oppression. I had the privilege of discussing with some top leaders, church leaders, on what we need to do. Coming from from what we know, one thing with the northern people is politicians and some of the religious guys is that they are very strategic. They are very, very intentional. Forget about seeing them as if they don't know anything. They can teach a professor of political science knowledge. An average street boy can teach a professor of political science. The professor of political science only has a head knowledge, but practical knowledge on what to do, a street boy in northern Nigeria would teach. So that is something that God has, let me use the word, endowed us with. It's just like God endowing the Southwest on education and leadership, and the Southeast on the Southeast on economy. So you can't take that away from the Southeasterner. If you just give him a space to generate and build the economy, then you can be sure that you're going to recover. So I presented that. Oh, everybody was praising that document. How great. Big grammar. At the end of the day, it ended up on the shelf. And so I went back to God. I said, Lord, these Christian people, what do I do? The Lord said to me, son, move and leave them. The ones who are ready, they'll go along with you. The ones who are not ready, forget it. So as a prophet, that's my office. By the grace of God, I know that prophecy works with participation. No matter what God says, and there is no participation by the people, prophecy will never come into manifestation. And so those were the things that now steered me. I moved again from state to state, local government to local government. I was trying to raise a structure for the body of Christ. And that was how I came about the initiative for a better and brighter Nigeria. And at least you have a little, this thing, it was out of that, I brought Peter Obi here, because I believed he was a better candidate. And then from all of them, then I tried to persuade the northern people, because the northern people are always afraid of the Igbo man, that they are dominatory in nature and all of that. So I moved to Kaduna, met with religious leaders. I moved to Kano, I moved to Borno, and all of that. So these things inform me to move around to engage the citizen, because Nigeria is not waiting for angels to descend from heaven. God has already planted the answer inside her people. And we are the ones he has ordained to rise. The creation, the Bible says in Romans chapter 8, verse 19, is a creation in eager expectation, are waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God to be revealed. So I came to a conclusion: if we fold our hands, we keep just talking grammar, we will continue to prolong the captivity. If we rise in righteousness, we will birth a new Nigeria. And the call is clear. This is not the time for cowardice or pretense. It is a call to action. And so I know that it was costly, it was dangerous, but sir, I made up my mind. If I gave Satan part of my life, with no fear. And I was ready to die for the cause of Islam on a wrong cause. At that time, I thought I was doing the right thing, basically. So what about now that I am having eternal life? What about now that I have assurance? What about now that I am the seed of Abraham? What about now that I am the child of the Most High God? And so I realized that in such a time like this, I have a responsibility to stir up a generation of the older, the younger, and the future descendants to awake for the birthing of the new Nigeria. So, in a nutshell, that is how I came about what you saw I'm doing.
Okay.
So, can I go on with the theme you gave me?
Yeah, go ahead. And part of what you want to also look at is how we carry every single Nigerian along of every, it's a very diverse country, different backgrounds, different tribes, different faiths and all that. How do we pull everything together, and what can the citizens do to actually cause a change in this nation? Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, let me give us the first. I'm going to take since I have this few minutes. Number one is that we, as a people, we must recognize the power of the citizenry. We must recognize the power. Citizens have strong power. Very, very, very strong one. In Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 6, you see, the Bible says the people had a mind to work. Citizens are not powerless. The people had. That is just the issue. The people had the mind to work. The citizens are not powerless. We are the foundation. The citizens are the foundation of governance. Every Nigerian, and we that are here now, we are more than enough to cause a change the moment we realize this truth. If we unite as one, we cannot be ignored. I believe that you must have followed last year. I led a protest, as I travel around, I asked Nigerians, look, come out and let's be able to declare our stand, because if you continue to keep quiet, you will continue to be oppressed. And by the grace of God, a lot of Northerners, because what I'm doing, there's nothing like Christian or Muslim. They know me and they know that I am even doing more things for them. Like the foundation I'm running here, 85% of the people that were trained last few months were Muslims. The video you just showed now, the 50% of the people that were in that hall were Muslims in the church hall. For the first time in the history of Northern Nigeria, Muslim women, Izalas, and all of that will come inside church and sit down with the hijab, and they were listening to this. And that was where this broadcast came from. So if the citizens realize, when I led the protest, just Plateau State was in the eye of the nation and the world, that we had tens of thousands of people that trooped out to the street. And God helping me, I was able to control the crowd. Now, the government was so threatened because they couldn't imagine it. They thought there would be an outbreak of, the normal thing you find when you find some of these boys that are into drugs and all of that. They hired them, sent them into. But the amazing thing, it was the people on the street that arrested these people with the weapons they were given, with the money they were given to infiltrate the crowd. The police commissioner and other officers stood and they watched. They said they could not believe. I would just talk to somebody that is high-headed and say, drop down, and he would just drop down. So on Friday, I asked the Muslims came, and I gave them a leader to lead them in their prayer. Usually, there would have been a lot of argument, but there, they just followed the leader. I told them to go to the mosque on a Friday prayer. They said, no, they are tired of the deception. They will pray here. And on the road, they prayed. They prayed in their thousands. And then Christians surrounded them. This is the first time. This is something that government has spent billions of naira trying to bring about peace and all of that. But no money, no money. God did it. So that means that the citizens have such a strong power. On Sunday, Muslims were the one advertising the Sunday service. They said we are not going to church building. We're going to have the service on the street, on the road, sir. On the road, Muslims blocked the place. They were in their thousands. Christians, Muslims surrounded. Muslims sat down, followed us throughout the worship. And then after the worship and prayer, we continue. When the government saw that the only way they could stop it was when they declare a curfew, because there was no crisis, there was no riot. The people were well coordinated, Muslims and Christians, standing side by side. So it shows us that Nigeria can be reclaimed. We can unite as one. And it is when we recognize the power that we have as citizens. Point number 2 is we must break away. We must break free from fear and apathy. We must break free. And this is something we must be intentional. You know, sometimes we try to play it a little bit safe. It's good. You know, especially when you're growing older now, you're a father, grandfather, and all of that. You just want to take it cool and all of that. But there are certain realities that come. That's what we have read throughout the Bible. Heaven had to reach. Jesus had to come. The price he paid was what brought redemption. Whether you want to talk about Paul, whether you want to talk about Peter, whether you want to talk about none of the apostles, whether you want to talk about, go and study the history of Great Britain, George Fox, what they had to go through, what the Quakers had to go through, you know, and all of that. We must come to the place where we break free from fear. Many Nigerians complain, but they refuse to act. Yeah, we just complain by the side, complain here. And then silence empowers corruption. When we keep quiet, when we are silent, you realize corruption will continue. I give us an example. I went to Bayelsa. There is a road that was awarded by the government in several billions. I drove from Bayelsa to Port Harcourt, and I saw that so much money has been released, but that road is there the same way for several years. So I had to video it and took up the Minister of Works. The Minister of Work was somebody I know. I mean, it's like a friend, because I was the one that preached, you know, in his last day in office when he was doing his Thanksgiving, and it was broadcast live. So such kind of a person, I shouldn't be bringing him to the laundry. But I know that when it comes to the path of righteousness, there's no compromise to certain truth. It's not about the person, it's about a people. So I brought it up. And then from Jos to Akwanga is hell. I mean, and that is the road that leads you from the northeast, from part of the north central, part of the northwest. People fly on that road. So what does it take? So I picked it up, I videoed it, and I brought it. Well, it went very strong. It went very viral. I know that in terms of financial favor and certain some of these things that probably he's giving one support or the other to my ministry or what have you, this thing will stop. But I was ready, because one thing I have learned is never depending on the arm of flesh. I have learned that if not him alone and not him alone, forget it. Men can fail you at any time. So here in the north, they have succeeded in impoverishing the church in the north, but God is helping us to come up. So I know that we have gone through the fires, we have gone through the worst. So I raised that up. The president took up that video, called the minister. I learned the minister was threatened. And then the minister came, he's there, you can check it. He went on live TV and apologized. He even called my name and said, I apologize to my friend, Prophet Buba, and all of that, what have you. I tell you the truth, sir. In less than 2 weeks, they started fixing the roads. Right now, by the grace of God, you can drive from Jos to Akwanga. You are not going through some of these bombs, at least for the palliative. The one in Bayelsa going down to Port Harcourt, what they did in less than 2 weeks, they didn't do it in 2 years. So it means that when citizens speak out, they silence corruption. But when citizens are silent, they empower corruption. And God told Joshua in Joshua 1:9, God said to Joshua, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Fear has kept the righteous in Nigeria out of politics. And that's why I'm proud of you, sir. Putting yourself, even though as a businessman and a minister of the gospel, you needed to make sure that you're careful on certain things to do because these people are deadly, and all of that. But yet, you're not in terms of just leaning in terms of the party, what you just desire to see a new Nigeria. That's why I'm grateful to God for your life. Fear has kept many righteous people. When I'm talking about righteous, it's not only the ones who speak in tongues and quote Bible scriptures. The ones you call unbelievers that are morally sound, that is a righteous person. And I believe that now is the time to engage boldly. This is the time. Because as long as we continue to speak a lot of grammar, this is what I've seen that is the weakness of the church. Very powerful people. The church has the wealth, sir. Muslims in Nigeria don't have they don't have 30% of what the church has. They don't. If what the church has, Muslims have it. Hey, yeah. What people are even seeing them now as being intimidating, they are the richest people, they are this. It's not. It's just that they are committed when they believe in a cause. They sacrifice their own time, their talent, their treasure. They back up one another. They see somebody, and the moment they see that person, this person we can follow, they will follow all the way. But church people, and I believe that this is something God is doing with what you're doing, with what few others are doing. I believe that God is beginning to wake up the consciousness of Nigeria. This is the way the citizen. The Muslims are tired themselves. They are tired of what is going on. When I led the protest, the youth from Kano, from Kaduna, it has never happened before. They told me, sir, give us somebody to lead us. Give us, even if it's Christian ticket now, we're ready. I mean, this is what has happened in the North. They are tired of what is going on, what the people have made them to be. So that takes me to point number 3. We must build structure, not just emotions. Emotions without structure is wasted energy. We must build grassroots movement. That's why God has helped me, by the grace of God, it cost us as a family, selling our land, selling our property, cost us several billions. And at the point, I think even in this meeting where you saw this broadcast, my daughter was speaking to the people and they all started crying. They said, we followed a man who is our father. His account is always very red. Looking at the people I offered to train, in different aspects, and it's not just this 2 weeks training, they will be trained for 1 year. And then we form them into clusters, into like groups. Then give them the power to be able to generate. Because the citizens must know how to conquer the environment, not trusting, not leaning on government, not leaning on politicians. How do we solve our problem by ourselves? So we need to build up this grassroots movement, coalitions. We need to look at people that are doing great things, and we need to put our hands together, network that can contest, win, and govern. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 says 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. Citizens must collaborate across tribe, across religion, across party lines for the higher vision of a new Nigeria. For instance, the movement that the Initiative for a Better and Brighter Nigeria, you have a directorate there that is called Islamic Directorate. And it is about 5 sheikhs that are in there, having conversation with other sheikhs. Because we're trusting God to erase this spirit of the teaching that has kept the North and brought us into where we are, especially when it comes to Islamic jihadism. It's not actually the Quran, it is the Hadith. The Hadith is one of the most terrible books. So if they practice the Quran, you will see that what is going on in northern Nigeria wouldn't. But they are following Hadith. So I'm engaging Islamic scholars. I have hosted them here 3 days, some of them 1 week. We would discuss and we would share how we're going to penetrate. So by the grace of God, we are pushing small by small. Then the Muslim convert. We have, by the grace of God, so many are converting. The only issue now is that so much conversion is taking place, but there is no structure. So we're believing God for something to happen in that respect. But then what I'm trying to say, citizens, we must collaborate. Then number 4, there must be strategic participation in governance. That means that we must register to vote. We must vote. We must protect our vote. We have seen what happened in 2023. We have learned lesson from it. We must join parties, not just social media debates. Oh, you see Christian flood the social media, but you realize that they are nowhere. They are easily discouraged. They easily give up. But sir, these people don't give up. These wicked people don't give up. I have said this. If Christians or believers, Nigerians have faith like politicians, hey, there is no mountain they cannot move. Politician will sell his land to go and contest, even though he has no assurance that he's going to win. They have this faith. So we must have this greater faith because we are doing what is right. We must support righteous candidates with voice, influence, and resources. These 3 things: voice, influence, and resources. Just like the word of the scripture says in Jeremiah 29, verse 7, it says, seek the peace and prosperity of the city which I have carried you. So that means that God Almighty has planted us in Nigeria. And that is the reason why, if you look at it, there was one of these times some people confronted some Christians who were dressing in Muslim attire in Borno. And they from the show to some of the leaders in the state, they wrote a threatening letter telling the Christians to apologize for using our traditional wear. The camp chairman was so afraid. Of course, I understood he was just careful that there would be no religious crisis. So he was writing that letter of apology. They called me and said that this is what is going on. I picked up that by the grace and the mercy of God. I confronted them. I confronted the shehu. I confronted the governor. And I demanded that if they're saying they were trying to project to the world that Kanuris are Christians now, they're becoming Christians. I said, would you ever deny me of my identity? I am a Kanuri, but I'm a Christian. My children are Kanuris. They are Christians now. I have 8 grandchildren. They are Christians. You can't deny us. So how can you deny a people of their own right in their own land? And I asked that they should apologize by the grace of God. Then few days later, they sent an apology. The governor demolished a church. I went to that rubble, stood on that rubble and said the government must rebuke because they didn't demolish mosques. Why should they demolish a church? We are not strangers. This is our land. So what I'm trying to say is that we didn't ask God to bring us to Nigeria. God was the one that planted us in Nigeria. Nigeria is our country. Nigeria, we own it. And God said we should pray for the peace and the stability of the city where we are. So we must support righteous leaders, raise a political party that by the grace of God, we will gradually build from councillors, members of the House of Assembly. Presidency is a small one. The major one is councillors, ward leaders, what have you. And by the grace of God, we have been able to we are doing that now. I'm having some retreats in Jos with several people and also a party we see that the body should own, so that by the grace of God, we will be able to drive a process. That takes me to almost the last one. Number 5 is to raise up a prophetic prayer network. Nigeria will not be transformed by politics alone, but by prophetic intercession. Every citizen must double as an intercessor, because what is confronting Nigeria is not only politics, it's spiritual. So God said in Ezekiel 22 verse 30, said, I look for someone among them who will build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land. This is the reason why, by the grace of God, from next Tuesday, I'm going to be touring again the Southwest, raising intercessors. I'm done with some part of the Northeast. I've raised about 50 intercessors. I'm going to the Southwest, by the grace of God, to raise intercessors, so that from different denominations, that we will have people who concentrate unitedly praying to bring down that satanic altar of corruption, satanic altar of delay, satanic altar of bloodshed and injustice in this country. And finally, we must hold our leaders accountable if we are going to, as citizens. Democracy without accountability is total slavery. Citizens must demand transparency. They must question policies. They must monitor budget. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 8 says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the right of all who are destitute. Speak up. So we as citizens, we have big responsibility. So here are the few steps in 2 minutes, and then I will hand over. Practical steps we need to take as citizens to birth a new Nigeria. Number one, we have to get our PVC. People are getting discouraged because of what happened 2023, but no, we can't get discouraged. This is what they want us to become. We must be ready to use these PVCs with integrity. Number two is just for us to join local coalitions, citizens group, town halls, advocacy movement. Number three, engage governance. We need to attend public hearing. We need to write petitions. There are some of us that are lawyers. Some of us are great brains. We need to question policies. Because if, for instance, some of these lawyers that we have, brilliant people, are playing their part, people that are businessmen, they don't have to be known publicly, but behind the scene, they join hands together with you, Pastor Otua, and say, look, we will be sponsoring. And then others are on the street. It's going to cause a transformation. Then raise intercession, like what I said, praying daily for the righteous leaders. Then number five, support godly candidates. We begin to coach them. We begin to finance them. We use media. We use, our presence at the polls. Then number six, we resist vote buying as citizens. And then number seven, we mentor the youth. Right now is the load or the responsibility God has given to all of us that are elderly here. We must be conscious about raising a new breed, not just youth they will flock into church, great, sing, jump, shout, that's all. But there is no intentional, deliberate plan to how are we going to sweep this nation. If all that we're doing is heaven, 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 like I shared with some leaders a few minutes ago before I came. If God wanted us to be in heaven, the day we accepted Jesus, he would have raptured us. But he left us. He said, occupy till I come. We have a responsibility to help the children, our young people, prepare big meeting where they will gather, then intentionally initiate them into the national transformation. Then you're going to see the change that is going to be. And finally, number 8, sacrifice comfort. Righteous change requires sacrifice. Just like Nehemiah left Persia to rebuild Jerusalem. I brought my children that are in Europe. They used to support me. They usually give me the transport I use going around the country. But I told them, I said, I believe in what God is saying. And so I brought them back. My children are here with me in Nigeria. Even though they are doing, now they have to be doing their work online and all of that. But they are supporting the work of what I'm doing. I told them, this is your country. America is not your country. Britain is not your country. These nations one day will begin to send you away, not because of your brain, not because of your skin, but because of your intelligence. Begin to prepare your Canaan land before a Pharaoh will arise that do not know Joseph. So the way the citizens, we the citizens, will birth a new Nigeria is for all of us, especially all of us here now. We are more than enough. With the team that are with you here, more than enough to cause about a shift in seeing that the citizens begin to act. And by God's grace, 2027, it becomes something that it will shock everybody how God can turn the table. Thank you, sir. I deeply appreciate the privilege you have given me to join you today.
Thank you so much. We're truly grateful. We have some various training programs, citizens' rights, and a Solage program that we're going to advertise towards the end of the program so that everybody can watch that. Those are very powerful words that you have spoken, and I like the clarity of it. Recognize the power of the citizens, break free from fear and apathy, build structure, and ensure a grassroots movement, strategic participation in government. You know, people should get involved and not just speak from the sidelines, and then raise up prophetic prayers and so on and so forth. And then the issue of getting the PVCs, although people are saying, well, do the votes really count? And if you finish voting, they write the results and then they say go to court. Maybe you can speak a little bit on that and how we can ensure that it's not just a question of voting. Those votes are protectable. You can protect those votes. It seems these days that it's difficult because sometimes, especially if it is the government in power, they use the resources of the government to challenge you. We've seen it happen many times. You know, they use police, they use army, they use the INEC, they use DSS. Maybe you can speak briefly to that. How can you then protect that vote in spite of the fact that
what we need to do, there's something we're trying to put together, and that's why one of the things I said about the lawyers we have. If we can actually get passionate lawyers who will join us, let's just say mobilize 5,000 people to invade with these lawyers, invade the National Assembly and demand for electronic transmission, that we need the reform on the Electoral Act, and that the citizens are not going to leave that ground until the National Assembly. I will tell you the truth. The problem of Nigeria right now is the National Assembly. That's just where it is now. So if we will be able to do that, we are going to deal with that issue of them using state power and all of that. That's number one. Number two, what we're trying to also put into it, we have learned from the past, okay, this is the way they've gone. So what we need to build is to build system also ourselves that, for instance, in every unit, you have nothing less than 200 citizens who are ready to stand to protect that vote. Sir, that will lead you to number three, where if anything contrary happens, because the citizens have the results on their hand, the citizen will sit on the streets. And no matter how powerful a president is, he is afraid of the reaction of the citizen. I can tell you from what happened in that August protest we did. I can tell you that. So these three, number one, let's get some lawyers that are ready and they have the conviction that this thing cannot continue. Because like I said, whatever you're enjoying today, because it's just you, one day you'll be out of the scene. What about your descendants? What about your children? So while you are alive, let's play the card. So what we need to do is 5,000 people come in, intelligent people, and we come into the National Assembly, and we're not going to move until the members of the House are ready to do what is right. That's one. Two, like I said, 200 people in every ward, every unit that will protect these votes. Then number three, the citizens now saying, we are not going to accept if there is an overnight announcement. Sir, this matter of go to court, judges will be running because citizens will show. No nation, sir, I have not seen, no nation can stand the anger of citizens. But when citizens when fear has been planted in them, they are so timid, that's when these people can do what they are doing. So this 3 points actually is the way to go. And if we do this by the grace of God, this thing will be over.
All right. I hear you, sir. I hear you very well. I hope people can hear me. And all that. I'm going to open the floor now for questions and answers, and those who are willing to ask a few questions. So, Sonny, can you please take it away and see if there are any hands up and those who would like to ask some questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Sonny, are you able to, or Jumoke, can you wade in?
Good evening. Mrs. Ifeanyi, please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak at this time. Prophetess Buba, thank you so much for your conversation, but I'd like to just react to two things you said. You said that in certain countries, people would come out to the streets and stop what is happening in Nigeria. You also mentioned that our children need mentoring. Here is my conversation. The quality of our citizenship is low. The quality of our leadership is in low because our parenting and educational curricula did not quite equip our younger ones from childhood with vital life lessons to make empowering choices in their lives. The churches and the mosque are also preaching mostly about spirituality. Many of the churchgoers and mosque-goers are walking around with negative mindset programming. Many of us are in bondage to negative thoughts, so we're not activating our greatest potential. I think that if Nigeria can rise to its God-ordained destiny, we've got to go and fix our foundational faults. Our education has to include growth mindset and integrative lifestyle, whatever name you want to call it, so people can commit to consistent and continuous personal development. We also need to look at performance, well-being, and productivity in the context of the individual's total social existence. It's not just about your spiritual life. It's not about your mindset. It's not about your body. It's not about your health. Everything you do sculpts your life. And I think that I would love to really, really connect with your organization because I believe that we can put into place training programs that can actually help our citizenship to improve so that Nigeria may become the giant of Africa as ordained by God. I think that I like what Itwa is doing, but I've always told Pastor Itwa, please, let's go to action. Let's bring solution-driven actions to get us to where we're supposed to go to. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. That was a comment. So the way we usually do this is take 3 questions together, and then you can address them. I can also make a note of the questions. I'm going to ask everyone to please keep your comments to 30 seconds so that we can take as many hands as possible. Mr. Tola Obiyemi, please go ahead with your question. We've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead and unmute.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Thank you, Reverend. I've heard of you for a long time, about you for a long time. I served in the North as the NCCF president in Nasarawa State, so we followed your system and all. But one thing I want to ask you that you mentioned, sir, you said that the church has so much money, and what are you? You are a father figure in the church. If you look at what is on the internet now, what we hear about is bragging about private jets and all that. How can you mobilize the church to channel the wealth they are boasting about to key into this vision you have so that we can build more discipleship to affect the nation? I believe that God has released wealth into the church. I believe what you said. Well, I think there is a little bit of misplaced priority. How can you walk in that direction to help us? Then number 2, I'm sorry, I know I've taken your time.
No, I'm sorry, sir. We have to take more hands. Thank you.
Right,
please put
fine.
Your comments in the chat. Thank you. Dr. Boyo, please go ahead, sir. We've asked you to unmute.
Am I being heard? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. I just want us to ensure, thank you very much, Prophet, for your input. I just want to make sure that in 2027, our attention is not focused on just on the presidential elections. On what the guest speaker said, we should make every effort to focus on the grassroots and not just social media. They don't vote on social media. So I'm suggesting that we make every 774 local governments in this country. If we have presence in 500 local governments, and we insist from the grassroots up to ensure that representatives in the House, senators are voted in directly and make sure that they are men of competence, character, and capability, that we will be able to make sure that we are controlling the House. The rigging takes place at the ward level. Then there's a rigging at the local government, that's the collation center before it gets to Abuja. So we need to focus on who is going in for the House of Reps in this local government in the 774, who are those going in for the Senate positions in the 3 senatorial regions of each.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. We're going to take Mr. Kingsley. Please go ahead and ask your question, and then we'll take the next set. Go ahead, sir. Mr. Kingsley, we asked you to unmute. Please unmute and ask your question.
Hello, sorry, but yeah, my question has been overtaken by event. Prophet has really trashed some of the things I would have loved to comment on. So I really want to commend him for a good presentation, and by God's grace, we'll do the best we can to support on this journey. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so very much. Sir, do you want to respond to those three, and then I take the next set?
Let me just take it from the first one. Number one, you see, Nigeria, we know we have problems. But just like you know, when you come into a house and you see all the chairs are scattered, if you say you want to fix everything at the same time, then you're going to get yourself injured or bored or stressed up or discouraged. The first thing to do is when you start from one point, then you start moving, you will discover that in a very short time, you'll be able to fix that. So right now, with all that we're confronted with, what we just need to do is what first step are we going to take? That's the first one. Then the second step, then the fourth step. Like I said, during the protests, I had some of these, if you have been to the north, there are these boys that are area boys. They are drunkards and wild, very wild. But it will amaze you, out of that protest, by the grace of God, a lot of these violent young men have been turned around completely. So there are steps that God is going to empower us to take. And then gradually, there's going to be this aspect of family transformation, social transformation, and all of that. This is another thing that there's a book that I wrote for my disciples. So I think I will get that book and also send it to Pastor to share it with everyone. You will just see the thought on how we can reclaim the soul of Nigeria. And with all that we've been confronted with, we can solve that. So the second thing is, if we want to connect with the movement, Pastor is there. He is the leader of this platform. Connect with him and he will be able to get you connected. By the grace of God, right now, we are putting together different blocks of this, both the Islamic, both the political, both the social, and all of that, to pull along. Let me just give you this. This is a picture. It's a big tree standing. There's the big tree standing. But then people are seeing this big tree, not knowing that below it or beneath it are these little ants that are eating up the root. And very soon it's just the tree you will see falling down. And this is what is going on now. We don't want to just make it too noisy in terms of our strategy, but we're putting a lot of things on the background by the grace of God. So if you want to connect with Pastor Otua is there. He is the leader of this platform. Get in touch with him, and then he will be able to connect you with us. Then number three, the church has so much money. The church when I'm making reference to the church, I'm not just talking about even denominations. Yes, denominations, they have money, but you are the church. The church is a person. So if you do the needful, you influence the next believer, he does the needful. You influence the third believer, he does the needful. You realize that the church will make the impact that is required. But so if we empower, for instance, we give our tithes, we must be faithful to God in that and all of that. We must be able to push the work. But then it's just like what I said today. I was addressing some Muslim converts. They were crying over certain issues. And everything comes to my table at the end of the day from these challenges in the north. It comes to my table. So I told them, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to go about it. But the church here is a church talking about billions they spend in running a conference. $2 billion they spend in doing this. It grieves my spirit. But then I don't blame these leaders. I blame the ordinary church person who should come to an understanding. You are faithful in your tithing, but at the same time, there is a covenant offering. You, like Pastor Otoa, coming to say with him, sir, can we build up a fund that is going to, we will commit ourselves. So this one brings 1 naira, the other one brings 10 naira, because we're not all of the same level. Another person brings 100 naira. And you concentrate on the strength, not the weakness. The weakness of the Southern Church is that they spend to themselves. But this time around, we want to save the nation. When the nation is safe, the members of the congregation will be safe. The members of the congregation, some of the fasting we are fasting will be taken care of by one policy. So when I'm talking about the church, it's you and you and you and you is what makes the church. It's just like what I used to say here in the Fanod when I was an Islamic jihadist. It was us. We weren't getting funding from Saudi Arabia. We were giving our money. This one will bring, this one will bring, this one will bring. And then we accomplish our mission. Then that takes me to point number 4. The grassroots thing. I tell you, presidency is not an issue. Completely. Governorship is not an issue. If we target councillors, target House of Assembly members, I'm telling you this, Nigeria will shift because it is the base that determines the strength of the people at the top of the pyramid. If you turn the base, they'll come down. And so our concentration between now and December should be on how we can take over, the polling units, the ward, and then trust God to produce some councillors. We may not produce 100%, but let's start somewhere. And so I think that is that on these points that were raised.
Thank you very much, sir. We're going to take the next set of 3 questions. Again, please be very conscious of time. We are up on the hour and we want to make sure we don't use the prophet's time. Please go ahead, Mr. Raphael. 30 seconds. If you can keep it succinct and to the point, we appreciate that.
Okay. Good evening, ma. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for your contribution to nation building. My question is this. There is a set of Nigerian young people. The average Nigerian young person questions the demands of patriotism placed on him or her by leaders, by parents, and by the nation, especially in practice. These leaders have made avarice to be the core principle of leadership. And these young people have experienced this kind of leadership from school to churches, to public service, to public offices, even in elections and other public engagements. These young people have seen money and pecuniary benefits as the hallmark of service, and they seem to translate that principle to citizenship. These people have also experienced patriotism, not in the holistic sense, but in pockets of instances. They have been bequeathed a society that is worse than what their parents had inherited from their own parents and the guardians of their society. What model of patriotism will you expect them to emulate in order for them to be committed to the ideal kind of citizenship that is required to turn around this country? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. We're going to ask, I believe, Prince Emmanuel Please go ahead and ask your question. We've asked you to unmute.
Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Prophet Buba, thank you so much. I listened carefully to your well-articulated presentation. I have a few questions and a comment. You know, Nigerians have since lost confidence in our electoral processes and elections. People would come out and vote. Their votes do not count. They don't have confidence in the judiciary to do justice. They don't have confidence on INEC to conduct a free, fair, and credible elections. How do we rebuild the confidence of Nigerian electorate to begin to come out and participate in elections? That's one. Two, the electoral reforms that you talked about, I want to suggest here, a prophet, that you chair a committee now of 10 and come out with an action plan. You know, we are good at talking. We talk, the next thing, nothing happens. You know, let's take steps towards that electoral reform. Not just electoral reform. We must ensure that good people participate in the primaries. That is the foundation. When good people and credible people do not participate in party primaries, they come out with, you know, people with no character, people with no capacity. The list of us are leading us today because our people do not participate in party primaries. That is the foundation. I think steps, how do you encourage credible Nigerians, men with no blemish, to begin to participate in party politics so that they can participate in party primaries? Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you very much. Pastor Funke, please go ahead. We've asked you to unmute.
Yes, good evening, Pastor Buba. I've been a follower for a while, even though we've never met. And I want to applaud all that you have done, you know, especially during Buhari time. You know, a lot of people would have expected people who speak the same language to actually be in denial, but you were, you know, extremely truthful. And so what you're doing right now, you know, is just a continuum, and we just hope that the truth will prevail. Secondly, I want to ask, I know that you said something about the church, and I heard one of these big pastors saying that Nigeria is the only place where there's been a similitude, I'm saying similitude, of revival, and the nation never changed. And I want to, even though you are speaking righteousness, you're speaking the right thing, we must acknowledge that we're not all Christians in Nigeria. So what's the flip side? You know, when we are confronted with the other religion, the Muslim people, because we know that government is by the people, for the people, and it talks about the entirety of Nigerians. That's my second question. The last question, you know, is to do with what you said about everybody registering. I was on a platform, I think one of the first leaders is on this, and there was a confrontation. And it was like all the other states, except for the Igbos, have refused to get registered. And I'm thinking it's because of what happened the last time. You know, Pa Adebanjo, if you know who he is, he was very, very articulate and was outspoken about the plight of the Igbos. We are seeing over time that the Igbos are being intimidated, even
Pastor
though they're
Funke, do
very
you mind
strong
rounding up that with a
people.
question, please? Please just end with the question. So sorry.
Okay, even though they're very strong people. So what do you think, you know, we can do to alleviate what I've just said? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. I appreciate. So please, sir, those are 3 questions. I don't know how many more you can take. We have about 5 hands up.
I would take the 4. I have 15 minutes. I will take the other 4 after this, but let me just quickly respond to this one. Number one, the set of Nigerians, the young people. Let me just give us this. From the South African revolution, what happened? The ordinary citizens, the churches, and the movement dismantled appetite. We saw what happened in Ghana some years ago. Citizens rose against dictatorship, and today they have a stable democracy. We also look at Mahatma Gandhi. He led a non-violent protest. The British Empire bowed to citizens' resolve. We saw that Kenya, when the present president was to be, when he won and the other powers that be said it was not going to be, the citizens plus court forced elections reform. Leaders were held accountable. Then we look at the Tunisia, the Arab Spring, one-man protest, one-man protest, one-man protest, and this is something. This is what the young people are looking for. Ignited a movement that toppled tyranny. So the lesson is change is not born in Aso Rock, but in the streets. Change is born in the campuses. Change is born in the churches. Change is born in the mosque. Change is born in the communities. So the young people, let me say this, that the young people are waiting to see that kind of a spirit. What we experienced during the last protest, I tell you, 99% were young people. Muslims, Christians. I just told you how the two are working together. Okay, so this is a shift. Some of them just got converted to believing in Nigeria again. Of course, I brought my children, so it wasn't something I was just talking for talking's sake. They saw my children who are well-to-do, and my children left everything to come back to Nigeria and stay here in Jos to fight the cause of the ordinary person. Even though they are privileged to be at the top, but they went down. So they saw it practically. So one of the things that we can bring about the Nigerian young people believe in, they want to see practical example. They want to see an active people. It may be one. It may be just Pastor Otua. It may be just one of you. They want to see. The moment they see, the spirit begins to catch up with them. And I think this is what we need to practically begin to do. Like in the South, where these things are dominant, we need to begin to, this gathering of the young people, we give them what they want. But then when they see you lead them, they will follow. Then the second one is the citizens have lost confidence. That's very true. But at the same time, this is what the politicians want. They want to do everything at all times to make sure that you lose your faith, you lose your confidence. That's why God told Joshua, he said, I said this to you, don't get discouraged. Yeah, I said this to you, be strong. I said this to you, be courageous. It's because of the kind of intimidation that is going to come. A sister said here, when Buhari has intimidated me that, number one, my family was threatened, my family, my extended family, everybody know where they are in Maiduguri. So everybody was under threat as long as you carry a Buba. But because we know what we were born of, our father served Second and First World War. He served to protect humanity. He laid down his life even though God kept him alive. So we grew up in a kind of a family that we fight for the cause of the less privileged. So my family, we are all in agreement. The family is divided into two now, Muslims and Christians. And we work together, we sit together, we pray together. So what I'm trying to say is we have a responsibility to go back to the roots, grassroots, and begin to awaken their consciousness. Now, I'm going around the country again. I'm going around. I just told you, by the grace of God, I just finished with Cross River, part of Northern Cross River. On the second, I'll be in Kwara. And I'm doing that, raising intercessors, at the same time, building the confidence of the people, because it's a process. And we cannot afford to allow the enemy dampen our spirit. So we are strengthening people in that way. And then, concerning the electoral reform, by the grace of God, we are already on it. A group is working on it. So Pastor Itua, he will be able to suggest some of you that will want to be part of the team. We are working behind the scene by the grace of God, seeing what we can do. I will tell you that the problem is not presidency, the problem is not state governors, it's that National Assembly. And with that National Assembly we must invade it. If we don't invade our National Assembly to give us what they must give us as Nigerians, then they will continue to play around our heads. So to encourage credible Nigerians, it will come through mentorship. And that is one of the things that, by the grace of God, in every state, we must have a mentorship process where potential individuals are recruited, and within the shortest period. It doesn't have to take us 3 years. It doesn't have to take us 5 years. I usually take a model of Jesus Christ with the woman at the well. The discipling of that woman took less than 3 hours, and she became a very powerful evangelist that even the apostles could, what they couldn't do, that woman did. So in this carriers time, we have a very limited time. It means that God will do a lot through us in mentoring people into the house of assembly, into the counselorship and all of that. So, but then I will encourage that you discuss more with the leader, Pastor Itua, and then, because like I said, 3 things are required: voice, and also influence and resources. And so God has given you, I will keep saying this, the South, a lot on your table. And if we can make just little sacrifice, I think we're going to make the right changes and transformation that is required. Then the last one, the truth will surely prevail. Now, but let me say something about truth. Lie, no matter how long, lie can never win. Lie is but for a moment, truth is forever. Study Nigerian history, how God has always disgraced men when they come to mess up this country. And I'm sensing very soon that something is about to happen in this country. I'm sensing it. And when people feel they have become almost like God to oppress Nigerians, and I sense something is about to happen. But then we must not allow the past actions to intimidate us today. The Southeast is the enemy of itself. I will be honest with you. I have been working among the Igbos for over 30 years. I have talked to every key person. The Baba is Edefe, the one that just passed on. He flew. He came to Jos. He slept in my place. By the time I analyzed the things that Igbos, what God has called the Igbo man to do, in the true sense of it, God told me, when the Igbo man does what is right and he comes into leadership, this economy of Nigeria would be healed. That's the reason why I supported Peter Obi. But the Igbos are the problems of themselves. But we can't keep talking about the problem. What do? There are sincere, open Igbos that God is crushing and breaking and molding them. So what we need to begin to do is to begin to form network, so that together we'll begin to initiate others of the same mind. Then what will happen is that we're going to push down that greedy aspect of the other Igbos who sell their birthright for a morsel of position or bread. And that is my counsel. So we're already doing some town hall meetings. So what we need to do is, by the grace of God, to increase the power. That's why I told us in the beginning, talk. I have seen church people, 43 years in this journey, I have seen why church people, servants are ruling them. On the street, you see 10 churches. It is an Agboro boy that becomes a counselor. That is what we like. That is a big error. So, but where God is helping us to change all of that by the grace of God, in some states we're able to win governorship, councillors, members of the House of Assembly. At least we've been able to make small progress. So you can imagine with the larger house now, we will be able to do so much before 2026. I am projecting between now and October 2026 that by the grace of God, there will be a tsunami in this country. By the grace of God.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. We are going to take the last 4 hands. We're going to take Mr. Jolomi. We are going to take Uncle Folabi. We're going to take Mr. Emmanuel and Mrs. Adetula. Those are the only 4 hands that we're going to take. So sorry, the prophet has to leave. So please keep it 30 seconds or less. Please. Go ahead, Mr. Jolomi, with your question.
Timing them. We're timing them.
I'm
Just
going to
time
time.
them,
I'm going to
please.
time. Please, 30 seconds or less. And I have we've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead and unmute. Okay, I'll move to the next. Okay, if you can't unmute, I'll move to the next person.
I think I'm unmuted
Okay,
now. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead. 30 seconds.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. And Pastor Itua, thank you so much for this. And thank you for inviting me. I'm really so honored to be part of this. And Prophet Buba, thank you for your presentation, and I follow you and your work over YouTube. And to me, this is an answer to my heart's cry for change in
30
Nigeria.
seconds is over, sir.
Okay, I've not even started.
Yeah, that's why we asked for 30 seconds, sir. Please, because of time. Please, sir. Please.
So do I have another 30 seconds?
Yes, to your question.
Please,
If you
just
can
ask the
Thank
question.
you for your mercy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, what I'm asking is, what we have is a systemic problem. And are we going to solve it transactionally? If you look at the book, Why Nations Fail, it gives you systemic issues why nations fail. For example, we may be looking for reform, institutional reform for elections, but it's civil servants that are changing the figures. Why is the church not putting civil servants into the system? Why is the church not being the human resource place to source these people? Why
All
are we
right,
not in
thank you very
politics
much.
and
Why is the
police?
church not being the resource? We'll just take that, and that's the only question we can take. Thank you. Emmanuel, go ahead. Sorry, very, very sorry. The prophet has to go, so we really don't have time. Emmanuel, go ahead. You are allowed to unmute.
All right. Thank you very much, Prophet Buba. Mine is a very short comment, and I will fast with it. I want to start by saying that the greatest challenge I've observed over the years with Nigerian youth participation in politics, especially during election, is the weaponization of poverty by corrupt politicians, where votes are bought on prepaid and postpaid basis. Majority of our youth are Christians from different denominations, Catholics, Protestants, Pentecostals, etc. Now, I believe strongly that there is need for ecumenical cooperation among churches in Nigeria.
Okay.
That is for all the churches, the Catholics, Pentecostals, to form an alliance focusing on
What's the
economic
question,
development. Now,
I think he has made his comment.
The comment is that what I'm trying to say in essence is that we need to identify value chain employment opportunities that can give jobs to the young ones, to the young people, all right, in Nigeria, with high social impact.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Afolabi, go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry, we really don't have time. Be straight to the point, please, sir.
Let me talk. At the beginning of this presentation, there was a video of you saying you're giving the current president 1 year, otherwise we'll go to the streets. How are you going to get people? I know you've been doing some protests lately, but remembering SARS and how SARS started and how SARS ended, which was ended up with a very, very bad taste and memories, very, very bad memories. How do you intend on getting masses and the youth to go out onto the streets, especially with the amount of people who lost their lives? And my second one is, do you believe in the current dispensation, or do you believe we need to change the political system or even have a referendum? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Folabi. Last but not the least, Bola Oshibodu.
Thank you very much. Mine is simple. How do we get the governors to take their hands off the allocation to the local government? The governors are the ones still controlling the funds, and they are the ones who will tell the chairman, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. They keep the funds to themselves because they were all nominated by the governor. That is my own problem. Let us start from the local government. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Prophet, go ahead and take response to all those.
Okay, please. I know that I have next. Let me quickly say, number one, systematic problem. Let me just say this. Let's look at Nehemiah's model. Nehemiah came to a city or a nation where it was a city of religious people. You have the people attending their temples and do their worship, but yet the land was losing value, insecurity and all of that. The priests were there. Nehemiah did not concentrate his energy trying to, first of all, get the people, which we can call now the churches and the Christians, to go and bring about the change. He got a handful of men of men and women that he was able to transform their mind to look at what must be done. And so with that group of people, they started the journey. And that was a journey that brought about a turnaround in that nation. So what we're going to see about civil servants and all of that, if we're going to get into this one, then in the next 1,000 years, we're not going to solve Nigerian problem. The thing is, where we are, what do we do in the next 2 years? It's not what do we do? You have to look at, first of all, what gives you the solution to be able to penetrate into the house before you talk about what you're going to do about the remaining things you find in the house. So the civil servants, Christians, pastors raising civil servants, it's a whole different job. And that comes by intentional mentorship. I told you that I was able to package something that was when I presented it to some top church leaders on why the church has no blueprint. No blueprint. I was part of the people who developed what you call the Islamic agenda in 1976. So I came, I saw people with no agenda, but they have everything. So if we're going to be dwelling on this, I tell you the truth, the next 1,000 years, we're not going to make a move. So what do we do? The weaponization of poverty. Let me tell you, what happened in the protest proved to the government, to politicians, that when these people see the right thing, they will reject whatever money you want to give them. You needed to be here during that protest. The government tried to infiltrate with money. The people shut down everywhere. Nobody gave them a dime. People were trekking. People were coming from like a local government. People were chartering buses. So what Nigerians are waiting for is to see a group of people that are extremely very passionate to drive and lead them. And we are coming to that. What happened in Kano, what happened in Kaduna, what happened in others, I can tell you that yes, politicians use money, but sir, we've seen it during the elections. During 2020 election, because of the way we've been able to educate the people, people turned down money. I remember one individual, he was given 1 million naira. He took the 1 million and threw it at the face of the person that brought it. So yes, there are a group of people, whether from now to eternity, as long as people are in this world, you will still find at least 30% of Nigerians that will still choose the path of darkness, the path of destruction, the path of wickedness. Let's not allow them to drain our energy. Let's look at the 70% that are really willing. But all they are waiting for is for them to see us rise and they will follow. Then the last one, I gave the president one year from now, because I have this faith. No matter how wicked a person is, there is always this moment that a turnaround can happen. And I believe he's the president of Nigeria now, whether he right or wrong. We know he didn't get there by righteous means, but the courts have declared it. So he's our president. We must respect that. But then he has the ability, just like I gave example when I raised issues on the road and he took up on the Minister of Works. The fact is that even though he got in by the wrong means, God's power through the people, because it is when the people act that he will turn this same person, and this same person will begin to do what is right. And I believe that in the next 6 months, they can turn things around. And if they turn things around, what are we looking for? We're not just looking for people. All we want is for Nigeria to work. All we want is for things to be better for the people. At least let them get the minimal benefits of life. Then the last one about the governors. Please, again, I would say that if we're going to concentrate on this, we are trying to put the cart, is it the cart ahead of the horse or something like that? You can't do anything about these people until you're able to put the structure properly. So, number one, we have a responsibility on civic education and awareness. It's going to take us a lot. In the place where I am is a facility God gave us with over 120 rooms. I have gathered Muslims here, Islamic scholars here, 3 days, some of them 1 week, with a hall of 2,000-seater capacity. And all I'm doing is I am educating them. The Shiites were once very, very violent. I gathered all their governors, paid their way, I brought them to Jos here. After 3 days, They went back. They changed. That's why you're not seeing them being violent the way they used to be. So there has to be civic and leadership academy, and then there has to be a building of citizens movement. And this is what I will encourage you on this platform, together with God's servant that is leading. Create a national citizens coalition for change. That means that there are churches that will agree. I will tell you there are churches that will never agree, because they will tell you with their mouth yes, but behind they will collaborate. That's why I said there are certain things I'm not saying it in the public. We are walking behind the scene, and by the grace of God, we spread across the 774 local government, plus one diaspora chapter. Some of you have influence with somebody in Germany. Some of you influence with somebody in Britain, somebody in America. So we can pull this together and then be able to drive it. Finally, political party strategy. We are going to, like I said, we are working already on a party by the grace of God, and we're trying to prepare a people to enter that party and then take over that party by the grace of God. And so that means that that party will be used to become the instrument we're going to be using to be fielding our own candidate, whether it is councillor, whether it is House of Assembly, whether it is the national, by the grace of God. So we drive the membership, teachers, artisans, professionals, traders, youth. And by this, we'll be able to see the new Nigeria we're praying for. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Prophet. Pastor Itwa will come back now to probably do some of closing remarks. And after that, Jumoke will take the announcement. Pastor, back to you.
Among the hosts, is a co-founder.
Well, thank you very much, Prophet. You've done an awesome job today. You've spoken with so much passion and candor, as always, and with so much strength. And your voice is very loud and very encouraging. I do hope that some of our people in government are listening and they are taking some of these conversations seriously, because Nigeria really, really needs help. And we really need to bake a bigger pie for everybody to partake of and beautify this country that has so much potential and that I think God created or God allowed to happen for a certain reason. God does not make mistakes. And even if men try to do wickedly, God turns that mistake around to finally fulfill his own purpose. That is what I believe. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Pastor.
Yeah.
Confirm what you're talking about. The Northern Islamic jihadists, they had prepared that they are going to take a Muslim ticket. But right now, they are the ones that are crying the most, because God turned their whole thing against them.
Yeah.
So just to confirm what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's how God works. If we understand God, he's in full control. Even he uses Pharaoh for his own benefit and for his own work, ultimately. So let's just wait on God. Let's keep being prayerful. Let's keep keeping hope alive. Let's keep being optimistic. Let's keep encouraging the people. Let's keep informing the people. Let's keep educating the people. Let's keep speaking out against what is wrong and keep encouraging what is right. Let's everybody just keep at it, and keep at it. Even Russia was under oligarchs at a certain time, under a terrible Tsar at a certain time. Italy was the same. France was the same. Even Great Britain was the same. But after a while, God rose on behalf of the people and heard the voice of the people. So to keep silent is to make a grave mistake. And I think Nigeria has great potential. And I think God has done wonderful things in spite of everything, even in this Nigeria that we see. So I want to thank you very much, my brother. I want to thank you, and I pray that we will be able to work seriously together, and we will be able to play our own part and mobilize what we need to mobilize to make sure that there's a strong fellowship of righteous people, of ethical people, of people who desire good for all, to bring together a great Nigeria the way Nigeria should be. So let me thank everybody who's been on the platform as always. You've been a wonderful host, all guests, all those who asked great questions and made great comments. You can see the depth of intellectual capacity that's available on this platform and also in Nigeria. Let me thank the back office staff, Faye Otaji, Sonny Enebi, Jumoke, and of course Olu, who worked tirelessly week after week to bring this production to come to pass. I appreciate everyone, and of course all those who are part of it. Nigeria will be great again, I have no doubt, with people like Prophet, with people like yourselves, with people who are still interested in Nigeria. Nigeria will be great again. So Prophet, don't be discouraged. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to chip in. Continue to be a voice. Continue to give us hope and encouragement. And God will bless us all. You all have a great weekend, great rest of the evening, and God bless you. Jumoke, if you have any announcements, please bring them forth. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prophet, for joining us. We appreciate you. So I just wanted to also let you know here at for the participants that join us every Thursday, this is a weekly virtual town hall. We meet at 5 p.m. every Thursday, same Zoom link, just a different topic. We also have a School of Leadership and Governance where we teach citizens responsibility and awareness course. So please get engaged. We've done our third cohort, and we're moving into the fourth one. We have the Ito Olajide Igodalo Mentorship Program, which is really trying to mentor the youths to be transformational leaders in nation building as well, responsible, ethical, and accountable leaders. And we have a new program coming up, which is very close to what the Prophet had just mentioned. And it's the Youth Leadership and Governance Development Program. And the purpose of this program is to really build or develop, create a pipeline of youths that would be able to contest or participate in governance and administration. And we want them to, the impact is to have at least 774 youth leaders that are focused on local government participation structure and building that alumni of network. So there's a lot going on. As Prophet has mentioned, this is everybody's a call to action. We need to do this together. I put a link in the chat room of how you can register with ALG and get involved, and then we'll definitely follow up with you. We're also going to put our contact information in the chat room. If you don't want to fill the form and you just want to reach any one of us, would also reach out to you on how you can plug in and get engaged. This is a work for all of us. So please, we invite you to come on board, join or any one of these initiatives that we've mentioned, and then share the flyer. Talking is also information. We're getting educated every Thursday that we come on this platform. Thank you very much. And lastly, we have the Coalition for Participatory Governance. We're working with a group of different organizations to also hold these public town hall meetings at the different local government areas. So that's something that we're working on with Anti-MEC, NNGO, and a few other organizations. So please find a way that you can plug in and for us to continue to build critical mass. Thank you. Have a good evening and God bless you. Over to you, sir.
And go for good women that support each other.
It's okay. We are done, actually. Thank you very much, Jumoke. And like you said, see you again next week, Thursday, same time, same Zoom link. We are engaged. If you're on this platform and there's any organization you think we should write to, if there's any advocacy you want us to advocate, you can contact us and we'll be happy to have that conversation with you and then probably take up that desire. We have written a few letters to certain organizations about how to make certain changes that can benefit us as a people. We have gotten 1 or 2 responses, but maybe letter writing can be another way. You know how Obasanjo used to do his own open letter writing? We can start that. So if you are here, if you have good ideas and you want us to write organizations about changes that they can make kindly contact us and we'll gladly do so. Thank you very much.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. No tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigeria, small and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be our symbol, that truth and justice reign. In peace, all power to honor, and peace becomes as gain. To hand unto our children, our banner we all sing. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria shall be blessed.
Please go ahead and stop YouTube.